If you're over 50 and you've noticed that your arms have become weaker and weaker with each passing year, the good news is there's a way to reverse that process. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Harlow and I'm the over 50s specialist physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today I'm going to be showing you my 3 favourite exercises for over 50s who want to rebuild the strength in their arms. So the sad fact is, as we age, we do lose muscle mass. We call this process sarcopenia. And basically, as we get older, we experience a decrease in some of the hormones that help us to build muscle. We also tend to exercise less, and the quality of the muscle mass in our bodies does decrease slightly. That all adds up to between a 3 and an 8% decrease with each passing decade in total muscle mass. And many of my clients come to me reporting that their arms just don't feel strong anymore. Maybe they had an incident like they fell on the floor and they couldn't use their arms to get back up. Maybe they tried to push a heavy door and they just found that they couldn't budge it, even though they should have been able to. Lots of these things become noticeable over time, and I'm often asked about ways to improve the strength of people's arms. So when we're talking about strength in our arms, there are 3 things we need to be able to do as we get older. The first thing we need to be able to do is we need to be able to push. So we have to have the power to be able to push things away from us, whether that's a heavy door or even someone who gets too close to us. We need to have the force to be able to push. We also need to be able to pull. If you're a keen gardener, you need to have the strength in your arms to pull things out of the ground. When you're digging, that also involves pulling because you're pulling the spade up towards you. There are many, many instances in our daily life when pulling is important. And then the final thing we need to be able to do is we need to be able to lift overhead. So we need to be able to push upwards as well as forwards. If you're reaching for something in the top cupboard, or if you're trying to put something on top of your wardrobe, being able to push overhead is vital. So the exercises I'm going to give you, each one of them does one of those 3 things. Let's have a look at how we can get stronger arms. And if it's safe for you to try these at home, do give them a try. So the first exercise for stronger arms that we're going to do today is one that satisfies our requirements for pushing. Okay, and we call this the wall press up. And I'm going to show you how to make this both easier and harder depending on which stage or which level you're currently at. So we're working on this pushing movement, and that's basically working a few different muscles. We've got the pectoral muscles here at the front of the chest. They're going to be getting a workout, and we've got the triceps at the back of the arm too. We've also got the anterior deltoids at the front of the shoulder. So they're important muscle groups for any time you need to push something away. And the best thing about these exercises is they're compound movements, which means they involve multiple muscle groups working at the same time. So for this exercise to work, you're going to be standing with your feet roughly 2 foot away from the wall to begin with. You're going to put your hands on the wall at about chest height, and you're just going to have your fingers pointing up towards the ceiling with your palms flat if you can. Now we're going to keep our bottom tight, our back straight, then we're going to bend our arms and bring our nose towards the wall. Now you're allowed to let your heels lift up as you do this, as long as your back stays straight. And basically what you're trying to do is slowly lower to the wall, touch the nose, and then come back up. Now, depending on where your hands are on the wall, you're going to be working different parts of the same muscle group. So if I go higher, I can feel it more in my triceps at the back of the arm. If I go lower, I can feel it more in my chest and the front of my shoulder. So you want to vary it really. And what I'd recommend people do is they spend 2 seconds going down and a nice firm push back up just to the count of 1 second. And what that does is it starts to generate power from your arms as well. So when we're going down slowly, we've got what we call the eccentric phase, which is where the muscle's getting longer while it's still contracting. And then when we push away, we've got the concentric phase, which is when the muscles is getting shorter and contracting. Now, when we've got the eccentric phase going slowly, that has been shown to be the best way to build strength in a muscle. And when we've got the concentric phase going quite quickly, that's been shown to be the way to build power in a muscle. So we've got strength and we've got power. So we're ticking 2 boxes in all of these muscle groups. Now, that's the easiest way to do it. We can make this harder basically by going a bit further away from the wall. So now I'm about 3 foot, 3.5 feet away from the wall. My hands are a little bit lower down and I'm touching and coming back up. So now you can see that I'm lifting more of my body weight as I do this. And what you're going to do is you're going to find the level that feels quite difficult for you to do more than 15 repetitions, and you're going to stay at that one. So for some people that will be the first step, for others it will be the second step, and for others it's going to need to be even tougher. So I'm going to show you the next stage of it now. So for the next stage of this exercise, you're just going to need a chair, preferably one that's quite low down. Dining room chair works well. You could use either the back of the chair or you could use the seat of the chair depending on the height. And you're going to repeat this exercise but using a chair to push you up. So I'm going to do it like this. So I'm about 3 feet or 4 feet away from the back of the chair. I've got my hands securely on it, and now I'm going to lower down and come back up. So you can see that the angle of my body has changed. I'm now more horizontal, so I'm going closer and closer to the floor. And you can see how eventually this is going to turn into a full press up if you can manage it. So I'm going to show you a full press up, which would be the next stage of the process. If you want to see me do it with the chair seat, this is how it would look. You have the back of the chair against the wall. Again, you're a bit more horizontal now, and you're bending your arms, keeping your back straight, and then coming back up. So that's considerably harder than doing it on the wall, so it's a big jump. But let's have a look at the floor version now, which is the hardest way to do it. So for the floor version of this exercise, you're going to have your hands about shoulder width apart. You can start off doing a kneeling press up if you wish. So you've got your knees on the floor like this, and you're just going to lower your nose down and come back up. Again, we can vary the position of our hands to work different muscle groups. So feel free to chop and change. And then if you want to make it even harder, what you're going to do is you're going to extend your knees. So you're coming up onto your toes. You're going to keep your back straight, squeeze your bottom, down and up. And again, if you want to make it tougher, you can bring your hands closer together or keep your elbows in at your sides and come up like that. So one of these types is enough to build strength. You don't need to do all of them. Some people might never get to the floor press up, and that's totally fine. Just stick with the wall ones. But any of these are going to build strength in that pushing. So the second exercise for stronger arms that I'm going to give you today involves pulling. And pulling is a really important movement. We do it all the time. And the muscles that pull towards us are the muscles that make up our back. So you've got your lats that live on the sides of the back. You've got your rhomboids that are between the shoulder blades. And you've also got the muscles at the front of the arm which move like this to allow us to pull. So the exercise we're going to do is a band row. I'm going to use one of these resistance bands. You can get them really cheaply online, and basically what they're designed to do is provide a little bit of external resistance as they stretch. Now, to make this exercise work, you need something at home that's sturdy that you can wrap a band around. I'm going to use my bed. I recommend most people use things like their banisters, but whatever you do, make sure it's something that won't ping off, because it might smack you in the face if it does. So make sure it's secured tight and it's strong enough to support the band. So I'm going to start by wrapping the band around my bed, and it's going to be wrapped around the bed at the level of my belly button here. So that's about the level of the attachment you want to have. And you're going to start by standing with very good posture, and you're going to stand back far enough so that when you're relaxed, the band is pulling your arms away from you. So you can see here that my arms are straight out in front of me, but my shoulders are nice and relaxed, and my back is upright. Now the movement is very simple. All we're going to do is we're going to grab the band, squeeze it tight, and we're going to pull in as far back as we can. Now, if you look at what I'm doing here, I'm trying to keep my back up straight. My shoulders are not coming up towards my ears, they're staying low, and I'm trying to pull my elbows back as far as I can. And ideally what I want to happen is I want my elbows to kind of graze my sides as they go past. And if I do enough of these movements here, I can start to feel the muscles between the shoulder blades having to work. So again, we're coming out like this and then in. Now, really, the main movement is happening at my shoulder blades. So what I'm asking my shoulder blades to do is to split apart when they're here, and to come together when they're here. And I'll also get a nice bit of secondary work in the bicep too, but the main things that are working are the muscles between my shoulder blades, otherwise known as the rhomboids. So I'm going to try and show you this at a different angle so you can see the movement of my shoulder blades. So here I've got the band set up, my shoulder blades are apart, and then I'm going to pull in like that and hold, and then relax them back down. So my shoulder blades are apart, and now they're coming in and back. And when you get to this contracted point, when you get to here, what you want to do is hold for a couple of seconds, feel that contraction between the shoulder blades, feel your arms tense as you do that. And you want to repeat somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 of these in a row. If you can do 15 without feeling anything at all, you probably need something a little bit stronger, so upgrade the resistance band. 3 sets of that every few days is going to really help with your strength in your back and your arms. And the third exercise for building strength in the arms is one that allows us to push over our heads. So this is a super important movement. When we're pushing over our heads, we're using a lot of shoulder muscles, so all of the deltoids get a workout. We're also going to be using the rotator cuff, which is something that helps us to lift our arm away from our sides and to keep the shoulder in its socket. It's a super important muscle. And the other thing we're going to get from this exercise is a workout for the biceps at the front of the arm and the triceps at the back. And then if that wasn't enough, you're also going to get some workout to the core as well. So to make this exercise work, you're going to need a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a bag with some weight in it. I'm actually going to use this, which is a doorstop with a bit of weight to it, but it's got a string attached, so it behaves almost like a kettlebell, and it probably weighs about 2 or 3 kilograms. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this exercise. You should only do this exercise if it feels pain-free. Make sure you get checked out by your healthcare professional before you give it a try. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stand upright, nice and tall, with a relaxed posture, with our arms straight, holding onto the weight with our palm facing forward. And the first step of this 3-stage movement is a bicep curl. So you're going to bring your arm up like this. Now, once you get to here, you're going to move your arm back and the weight is going to move behind you. Okay, I'll show you that movement again. So we're going from here to here. And then the final step of the movement is we keep our back straight and we push it up overhead. So I'll show you how that looks in reverse. It will come down, that comes round to the front, and then the weight comes back down. So it's a 3-stage movement. So we've got the curl, we've got the twist, and we've got the press. And then we've got the lower, we've got the twist, and we've got the lower. Okay, so curl, twist, and press, lower, twist, and lower. Curl, twist, and press. And you can see I'm trying to keep my back straight. Sometimes it helps to have your hand in front of your tummy just to feel your core working. And you should only be doing this movement if it feels comfortable. If it's uncomfortable, you might be using too much weight. And if it feels like there's one particular stage of the process that hurts too much, you can break it down into its component parts. Some people might just want to do a bicep curl, although we don't normally recommend just that because it's not that functional. Some other people might just want to do the overhead press part, which is fine because that works your shoulders and your triceps and your core. But whatever you do, I would recommend trying this first because this gives you a complete workout to your shoulders, your rotator cuff, and your arm muscles, and also your core. And I'd recommend trying to do it at least 15 times in a row, and you should feel tired by the time you get to 15 repetitions. If you don't feel tired at 15, you need to find something that's a little bit heavier. Okay, I'll show you on the other arm. So we've got the curl, we've got the twist, and we've got the press, then we've got the lower, the twist, and the lower. And again, we've got the curl, we've got the twist, and we've got the press, and then the lower, the twist, and the lower. So it's just like that. So we get a nice workout, all of those muscle groups. I'd recommend doing 3 sets of each of these exercises. You don't have to do them every day, just a few times a week would be perfect. And that will give you nice, strong arms after several months of practice. So those are 3 of the best exercises for stronger arms for people who are 50 plus. They're better exercises than isolation movements like bicep curls or tricep pull downs, because those exercises only work one muscle group, and the ones I've given you work multiple all at the same time. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a comment below and subscribe to the channel. And if you want more from me, you can pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and you can find it on Amazon using the link below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next one.